Preparing. All righty, up, ready to go. Now back to Zoom, and I'm in here. You got it, and let's record. All righty, well, welcome to call number 3 of living beyond your distractions. What are your distractors? Have you been aware of some new distractors? Are you addicted to distractions? Yesterday was like it was allowance. Were you in allowance for you in places you haven't been? Was the word allowance something new to you? I loved what we talked about yesterday. I didn't go back. The difference between acceptance and allowance. That was powerful in itself, just knowing the energy on words and what that creates. And today we are going to get on to my next one. So let me share my screen. The way I did it a minute ago, it popped up like that. Let's see if we can do it that way. Present. And can I see who's with me if I do it that way? Oh, there's Kim. Kim, thank you. So I'm going to actually have to do it another way. I'm going to have to, we'll just go that way. I just can't see you guys when I do it that way. I have another possibility. I like to
see. Well, you look beautiful before you check out.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, I still want you guys to see me. Oh, there we go. I like to see you guys while I'm talking. Okay, cool. Well, living beyond your distractions. We are on day 3. And before you got on, Kim, I was saying thank you to everybody showing up that was able to do it live. Emails have been going out to people who are watching the recordings. And on the last day, which is tomorrow, there is an invitation to the next free workshop with me, which I'll talk about. But you have to figure out how to do it and get into it on the last recording in the last few minutes. So I'm just popping that out there for everybody else who's been listening to the recordings. So I'm excited about today's topic. So let's go here. Day 3. Let me move you guys over here, right there. So day 3, we've been talking about my 4-step process for your success. Again, looking at the energy of what success is for you, not for anybody outside of you, what success is. Day 1, we talked about the power of your awareness. How's that been going on in your world? What are you aware of that you're aware of, that you're not aware of, that if you were willing to be aware of it, it would create a different reality? Yesterday, we talked about the power of allowance. When we are in allowance, we are not in judgment. And when we're not in judgment, we have awareness. And when we're in awareness, we can ask the right questions for the right questions that create. So today is the magic of the ask. And I just called it the magic of the ask because when we ask, and we ask the right, not a right or wrong, but we ask from a space that opens up possibilities. So I have a couple little slides here that I just thought they got right to the point. This is a question. So if you're new to this work and you're like, well, I can ask any question. It's important that we ask questions, and I have another slide, but we ask questions that don't have an answer, which is interesting, but that's what we're looking for. We're looking for something that we don't know the conclusion to, so we can be this space of curiosity, awareness, allowance of what shows up, and be in that energy. So this is the question. What question can I ask that would change everything right away? That's it. That's like, there's so many questions, but that is such a powerful question. If you're in your life living situation and you desire something different, Ask this question, be the question. That's a process. First, we ask it, and then you keep asking it. And then all of a sudden, you become part of it. What question can I ask that would change everything right away? What question can I ask that would change everything right away? What question can I ask that would change everything right away? And everything that doesn't allow that. And then that's when I do the facilitation with you, teach you in the course of destroying and uncreating everything that doesn't allow you to know what it is that you can even ask. And it's such a huge way that we get ourselves stuck in distractions because we're looking for the why, the what, the judgment of that versus what question can I ask that would change everything. And yes, this does take patience because we're so used to this reality, finding an answer so that we can do something. This is about being in like, I'm going to ask, I'm going to see what I'm aware of, see what shows up, what magic shows up, what, like that stuff that you're like, oh my gosh, that was like incredible how that just appeared. That's the art of manifestation. Manifestation is how things show up. Actualization is that it showed up. So what question can I ask that would change everything right away? That awareness is the manifestation of what the question is that you're asking. Okay. So I was on a call this morning and I shared it in the Phenomenal Wealthy Woman, which I'll tell you a little bit more about when I offer the program that I have following up with this, is that thinking is a distractor. Can you agree, ladies? Like that's a big one to chunk down because we're taught in this reality. I really want to see you guys all here. Let me get you. We're taught in this reality that think before you do something, think before you decide something. Now, I'm not saying that that's like a wrongness, but in this reality, what we're doing when we do that is we are from that, we ask a question, we pop up with an answer, and then we try to figure out if the answer is right or wrong, because that's the number one polarity of this reality is the right or wrong. From the time we are little people, we learn what is right and wrong in the foundation of our family and the foundation of the generations and the foundation of this reality, right and wrong. So we spend all of our lives until we become aware and there are an allowance of what we've been choosing to go, wow, I've been asking for something different, but I've been trying to figure out what it is so that I can decide if I want to do it or not. And what I will add to that too is I don't like to coach with the word decide. Because as we know, decide, the power of that word is to cut off all other possibilities. To decide something, you cut off all other possibilities. So that doesn't mean that that's not required in some places. But if you're asking a question and then you go, well, I have to decide that, you've literally locked yourself into a no choice possibility world. It's like there's no choice except for what you have decided. And this is where the work of going into what is that next identity, your future identity, because you're always going to ask a question and refer to your past and pull up that information. Like you have to get that we're always going back to our old reference points until we start to be in the 4A's. I'm aware that that's an old thing. I want to eliminate that. I want to, destroy and uncreate it from my reality, and be an allowance of like, wait a minute, I don't know right now, but I'm going to start, instead of deciding, I'm going to be in this space of what we call choice. possibilities, it's a superpower. I always do that. Choice is our superpower. And I don't think we're really brought up knowing that you have choice. It's make a decision and then follow that decision, even if you know it's the wrong decision, but you've decided it's the only decision. And then all the distractors start to pop up in your world because that decision you decided doesn't align with who you are. And then it becomes heavy, crunchy, and you can't get to it. And then you've decided you're a loser, and then you have procrastination. You can see how the work that we talk about here is everything loops on top of each other. So that's what's cool. It's like there is a method on how to get out of this. So let's go to number 2 page. And you guys can see me right along with the thing. Okay, awesome. Okay. Week 3, day 3, the magic of the ask. This is the most powerful question right here. If I choose this, what will, oh, it's a typo. Oh, well, I'll fix it. If I choose this, what will it create in 5 years? And the reason this is a powerful question is because our brain does not know how to calculate out 5 years. It cannot figure it out. And that's what we're trying to be, is the energy of, I have no idea. But if I choose this, what will it create in 5 years? If I don't choose this, what will it create in 5 years? So this is a great, powerful question when you're in distractions and distractors, where you don't know what to do, what to choose. You can literally sit at your desk and go, if I choose this, what will it create? And maybe you don't have to go out 5 years if it's something simple, but the 5-year mark, your brain can't go there. So it creates this entire space of possibility. The thing you have to learn is how not to jump into, well, I still need to figure it out. Okay, that's the manifestation. How it shows up is none of our business. What we do, the action that we do, but we be an allowance of it, we're awareness, allowance, and then we've asked. So every time you ask a question, you disempower. Every time you ask a question, you disempower yourself. Every time you come to a decision, a judgment, a computation, or a conclusion, you are coming to the narrowest version of awareness you can possibly have. So this takes practice because we don't realize that all of our questions usually have a decision, a judgment, a computation, or conclusion in them. Okay. And you can usually hear them in other people before you hear them in yourself. You're like, she asked a question, but then she completely decided what was going to happen. Okay. So that's the gift of, observing others with an interesting point of view of like, well, I told you guys that the other day in the Phenomenal Woman. Max, my husband, asked a question, but it wasn't a real question. He said, and I think I shared it. He said, I'm curious about something, and curious is an energy that we want to become more of. I'm curious. For me, I didn't even know what that word was a few years ago. I mean, like I was never, ever going to have the space. Curiosity was just not even possible in my world. You just knew it, you figured out, and you just did it. And then it was just a mess. But he says, I'm curious. And then he said to the fact, I'm curious that this is what's going to happen and this will be the result. And I stopped him and I'm like, that's not actually a curious question. You have a question and you've decided with the curiosity of the answer. It took him a while to get it because it was so like the way we do things. So even that, listening to somebody else, you hear it before we do it ourselves. So asking a question and then dropping it. And a question, and you drop it. That's the best way to explain it. And then you allow the quantums, everything works together. That's the art, the mastery of ask and shall you receive. Okay, ask and you will receive, which most of us do not know how to ask. Okay, so we're really going to focus on that, the art of that in the 6-week course. So here's a couple other little things. You might have already read them, but acts of consciousness is the willingness to ask a question. And I talked about this yesterday. It's like the willingness is the step one. Step one in our 12-step program is, am I willing, whatever it is, step two, willing to do whatever it takes? Am I willing to ask a question and be aware of what shows up? So being conscious, remember we talked about that. If you are living in distractions and problems, you're not choosing to be conscious with them. Okay. And I never expect to get an answer. I'll always wait for the awareness. Okay. So again, this is something we're going to do in the 6 weeks, is how awareness shows up. For some of us, I mean, it's a practice. For some of us, for me, it's like, it's your knowing. It's like, oh, I just know. And then I'm going to follow that, even if it doesn't make sense to anybody else. But that's the muscle work that we have to learn, is that I'm going to follow my awareness after I ask some more questions, decide if it's, aligned with me and my body. But that takes practice, because a lot of us have never had the space to actually follow your knowing. Access consciousness is to access what it is that you know. And then my thing from recovery has always been to know what you know and know it. That is empowerment. That is what I want for everybody, is that you know what it is that you know, and you know it. And then you choose it. Okay. So a couple little other pictures here. The magic of the ask. These are 4 questions. If you never learn another question, these 4 questions will create your life in a totally different pattern. Now, I have these fabulous 4 women on the call with me live who have been here, and I'm so grateful for that, who have worked with me, and they know this stuff, which is why they have created lives in business different than they had before. But even when we know it, we still forget it. So these 4 questions will create your life in a totally different pattern. What is it? Another typo. Sorry, that's why I need to see personality in my life, because it's like, I put this together this morning. How does it get any better than that? So what can I do with this? What is this? What can I do with this? Can I change it? If so, how can I change it? Wow, Lynnae, a lot of bad typos. So before this goes out again, I will have it cleaned up. If you stay in the question in your life, there's nothing you can't change eventually. Okay. So these are the 4 questions. Let me repeat them without all the typos. So you have something that's going on in I might even facilitate somebody if they have you're in the distraction. You've decided that you are distracted. Well, is it actually a true distraction? Or have you not asked questions that move the distraction out of the way so that you can actually have awareness of what it is that you've decided is a distraction? And then the distraction becomes a problem. And then you focus on trying to fix the problem when the problem isn't even the distraction. It's that you're not asking a question. So if there's something that you don't know what to choose, you don't know what to do, you ask, what is this? What can I do with this? Can I change it? If so, how can I change it? Terrible typos. And the how can I change it is more of how you will learn more things of what that is. Like, what tools can I use? What energetic tools, different things you can do and be. So how can I change it? And if you stay in the question in your life, there will be nothing you can't change eventually. And I like the eventually part because it didn't say immediately. Because often we'll ask these questions and we've got, if you guys know me, underneath the pile of poo is the pony called you. And so a lot of times we have to keep asking questions to move away the limitations, the beliefs, the points of view, everybody's objections, everybody's projections, and then all of yours on top of that. So we keep asking questions, we keep clearing it, we keep dissolving it. So the more and more that you do that, and then you step into that new identity, which requires work and processes of what are my new values? What are my new energetic priorities? How, just a lot more to that. But if you stay in the question, you will eventually, and you can eventually change everything. So here we go with my little picture over here. Nothing is ever this or that. Everything is what else. So this philosophy, asking question, is universal. It's absolutely universal. It's a universal law. It's the art. It's, the law of attraction. It's all of that. A lot of my training and education comes from access consciousness. So a lot of the basic, simple questions they have, which are basic questions, but they're such basic questions that you don't think about it. But that question of everything is, the question would be is what else is possible? What else? What else is possible? Question mark. I heard on the radio a guy say today, and this is what we normally say, is I've seen bumper stickers and everything. It doesn't get any better than this. How often have you heard somebody say that, or you've done it? Because it is so damn good. But then you go, it doesn't get any better than this. Well, guess what? You have just now eliminated the possibilities for something a whole lot bigger and better and different than you can imagine. So it has a question mark on it. What else is possible here that I've never considered? How does it get any better than this? So powerful. Those questions will change everything. And people will be really weirded out around you when they say something that's really whatever, right, wrong, good, bad, whatever it is. And you go, well, I wonder what else is possible. I have clients that have worked with me, and that's one of the reasons. I think it's, what's her name? Elizabeth. She said, I said that one time when she was in a problem, and I went, well, what else is possible? She said it made her so mad that she wanted to know more. And we've been working together since, because she's in the middle of a problem. And I'm like, well, what else is possible? And she's like, well, I don't know. Why are you asking me that? I want to figure out the problem. And I'm like, no, we don't want to figure the problem out. We want to out-create this energy of where you've put yourself in this box to figure out a problem. And 98% of those problems aren't even your problems. You're trying to figure out other people's problems. So how does it get any better than that? Question mark. Okay. Woo. All righty. Woo. There we go. Woo. Okay. When you be the question, the information and the awareness comes to you. And it does. And it comes in so many different forms. And that's one of the things we'll study a little bit more in the 6-week course is how does it show up? Because a lot of times we misidentify it as something else, or it shows up as something totally different. And that's why I'm really big on acknowledging things and going back a week or two, whatever, and go, wow, I've been asking for this. I've been in action to create that, because you can't just ask for something without completely doing the action that's required to allow that to happen in your space, to be available to receive for it. But yeah, so there we go. I've lost my train of thought on that one. So everything that is right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all 9 shorts, boys, poveds, and beyond. Ask. When you be the question and information, oh, there we go. And the awareness comes to you. It's misidentifying, because a lot of times we'll say, oh, we'll give credit somewhere else and not acknowledge that you're the one who actually asked for it. And the way that the quantum physics works, again, I study it, I read it, I love it. I can't explain it. And I don't know, I think you have to be a scientist. But when you ask, it goes out. It goes out into the there. And then who you are being. So if you're a low frequency, you're in that 3D dimension, you're in you're in the emotions and the thoughts and the feelings, anger, shame, grief, fear, and you are asking for things. The universe has a hard time bringing it back. That's not, I don't want to put it that way. It has a hard time. It has a, what is it? How do I want to say that? The way I see it. When you're in that lower energy and that's harmonics, it can't match the higher vibration of what it is that you're asking for, because we're always usually asking for something greater. But if you are down here, wherever that is, and running in those lower vibrations, we've got to up that vibration and then up it again. And again, that's an energetic process. So, so when we give credit to other things for bringing it in, I want you to acknowledge that it's going to show up possibly very different, but are you, this is the big thing of the art of manifestation, is are you a match energetically for what it is you're asking for? And who you're being right now and who you've been is not a match for what it is that you're asking for. It's just not. I mean, that's what I'm getting so clear on. So that requires the personal transformational upgrades, the work, the growth junkie part of like, I'm going to do the action of what's required to get myself bigger, to have bigger expansion, to be available to receive more, to have more. And that in itself is its entire process of receiving and having. So, okay, I'm going to roll. All righty. So before we go into the program, the offer of what it is that I want to talk about, and tell you what else is possible, does anybody have any questions or feedback on all of that? Anything anybody want to share? We good? Any contribution on any of that? Okay. Okay, cool. Just double checking. Okay, so before I go in to talking about the program, this is where we shut ourselves down. Okay, what if, question, you are in awareness that you either want to, this is what I do when someone does the close, you know, it's like, am I willing to just show up, to be available in the energy of that? Because we all do that when something's being presented to us that's different or doesn't match our reality of what we're asking for. We often shut it out before we actually have an opportunity to choose it, to hear it. Okay, that's not that you're going to choose this or not choose it, but it's part of the 4A's. Am I willing to be aware of the way, you know, my old experience? And am I an allowance to hear something different? And then I'm going to ask questions if that's something, you know, that I would choose in my life. So we're kind of practicing that as I talk a little bit about that. I like this little thing. To actually be awareness led, you must release your old identity to get out of autopilot. But to do that requires an awakening that you are not your patterns. Okay. So that's powerful. We've talked about how, you know, releasing the old identity a little bit, how to get out of autopilot, the distractions, the distractors, and they are all there and set in your patterns. So how do we unpattern that? So that's a process right there. Okay. If I click this little magic button, do you think it'll open up like it's supposed to? Oh no, it didn't. Okay, hold on. Let me do that. That would have been just $2,000, wouldn't it? If it actually did it. Live beyond distractors. Okay, here we go. So this is my invitation to a possible next step with me. And this is speaking to everybody who will be with us and to the recording, is activate the 4A's within you. And I mean, what would it be like to actually get these down? Okay. And by getting these 4 A's, which we'll go over in a minute, because tomorrow we have our last one, is to eliminate your distractions in your life and business by using the 4 A's and using it in every area of your life. Okay. Roll, roll, roll. So live beyond your distractions. Here's the 4 A's. Master your awareness, allowance, ask, and then tomorrow is action. Because we can be doing all of these things, but if we don't actually choose to do something and get into the appropriate embodied action, it doesn't work. I mean, how many people have signed up for courses and classes and all of any of that, but you got all of it, but you never actually did what you know would work if you did it. So let's eliminate distractions in these areas. Sometimes it's hard to put things into words on how I teach, because I'm going to put here a module for you. We're going to talk about it, but those who show up bring the energy into the course on exactly how we're going to expose it and then eliminate it. But we're going to identify the distractors, or where you're identifying problems, I would say. And looking at, are they problems, or do they belong to you? Are they actually problems? Have you bought into other things? So we're going to talk about those distractions, like, why can't I get this done? Asking from the why question. We're going to take a look at that. And we're going to identify if money is actually an energetic priority for you. Because I have found that we're asking for money, but we actually haven't put it in as a priority. So this is kind of going to be an interesting module here to explore that from all the distractors and distractions that you're using and have unconsciously, because you actually haven't chose money as an energetic priority. Okay. Because there's so many points of view about how that's wrong. Okay. Limitations, you're going to learn how to identify these blind spots I'm going to share a lot of different tools, a lot of different ways to do that, taking a peek at where these limitations are. Some of you know the work I do. We'll use the clearing statement, but really looking at what you've decided is a distractor is actually a limitation underneath it. It's like, I want to get rid of the word distractor because we just use that. It's like a linear, I'm distracted. It's like, okay, cool. But what underneath there has created what you've decided is a distractor, when it's actually an energy that's not allowing you, or that you haven't become aware of how to eliminate that. Okay. And then we're going to tap in a little bit about overgiving and people pleasing. Identify the areas where you are functioning on autopilot and learn how to repattern and activate awareness as your first priority. You'll see how everything kind of rolls into itself. And, when it comes to overgiving and people pleasing, it happens to be one of our biggest distractions because it just is. So we'll talk about that, and we'll look at about what's required for that is not your priority. Okay. And there's a lot to that. All righty. Okay. So break free from distractions and embody a new wealthy, and wealthy means something different for everybody. So we'll take a look at that, of a new wealthy version of you in 6 weeks. Okay. We're going to, like everything we've just talked about, awareness, allowance. And this is what I'm really focused on a little bit, is mastering the skill of the ask. We're going to spend 2 weeks here, and we're going to dive into the identity of who you are being with your ask. It's really important, because if we're asking from this energy of who we've been or who we are now, but not from the space and possibility ask, and we wonder why it's not showing up, there's an art to it. Okay. This is important just to remember, just as it takes practice to build muscle in your body, it takes practice to build the muscle of your awareness. All of this stuff is practice because we've never been taught. And even if we've been taught and we've been learning, it's a daily like, wow, did I use my tools of consciousness to choose what it is that I'm creating, to ask for what it is that I'm creating? And then you might see yourself in some of these testimonies, but maybe not. There's Miss Brooke right there. So thank you for your testimony. Some of you might pop up here. And I told you I'd share a little bit about me. When I was looking at this today, I need to remove this picture. I look like Miss Perfect Perfection. It's cute, but it's I don't know. It's just like, hello, welcome to my perfect world. And it's so not. So anyway, it was a new shot that she did, but I'm looking at it going, I'm not sure. Well, welcome to my world. I am Lynnae. So we've been spending 3 days together. You girls all do know who me be, but for those who are watching the recording, I'm a transformational, intuitive empowerment coach, all these different titles. The basic thing is that I teach and share really my experience, strength, and hopes, and all of my studies. Everything I teach is everything I've walked through and everything I've overcome. I mean, I'm just really right now realizing all the things I've overcome in my life, which I actually never thought I overcame them because I didn't look at them as a space of overcoming. I looked at them as the next choice of possibility to create a greater life. And that looked like a greater choice of overcoming my drinking. I'm sober 34 years, eating disorder that almost killed me, 2 marriages. But it's so weird because somebody asked me recently, those are some major overcoming things. I'm like, wow, I do have a different way of thinking. I did come into the world in a different possibility, in a sense of like my mindset is always like, oh, okay, that's happened, but what can I do to outcreate it? And I didn't have these words. I just knew whatever it was that I was choosing, life, death, terrible situations, terrible people in my life, that it was time to choose something different. And I was willing to follow what I knew I was aware of next. And I didn't have that insight, the clarity I do today, which is what my passion is for everybody who works with me, is to know that you do know what you need to choose next. It's just all the things on top of why you can't choose it. So that's not really in there, but I wanted to say that. So I have been in transformational healing work and in my own journey for 34 years. It says it right here. I left an abusive marriage, which I did, overcame significant financial challenges, bankruptcy, lots of money to little money to money and all that. And then I told you about how I lost $75,000 yesterday because that's fun. How does it get any better than that? And these experiences have shaped my understanding and resilience and determination, need to not just survive, but thrive. And that's really in the last few years of deep, deep work. I am never out of coaching for myself. That's just my personal thing. The more I want from my business and so forth, the more I have to dive into me and grow me so that I can expand to what it is I'm asking for. Okay. Even that person sitting right there in the picture, I don't feels like the expansiveness that I am today. Can anybody see? Like she's a little tight, she's a little crunchy, and I don't feel tight and crunchy. And that was not even that long ago. So that's how we change. So from survival to thrival. Yay. I absolutely believe that our past does not define us. And no matter where you are now, there is nothing wrong with you. If that is kind of like my tagline, there is nothing wrong with you. I don't care what we've been through, what we've done, how bad it's been, how bad, any of that. We're here to experience. And how can we just create greater and greater experiences? And together we will harness your innate power and guide you toward creating a life you dream of. And I am living that dream. I am living that life and dream. And what else is possible? So, my mission is to provide you with tools, insight, the necessary support to navigate life's challenges and truly unlock your true potential through personalized coaching. So here we go. Oh, this is the master, the magic of ask. We're going to spend a good 2 weeks. This is only a 6-week program. 6-week programs go very fast, but I thought it would be a good place just to kind of tap into there. And then a lot of you are new to me. So the universe is like Amazon. It is designed to deliver anything you order. You just need to know how to place your order. Isn't that fabulous? So this is an area I still am working on because I had so many points of view about asking. A lot of us may have that. It's like, it's not okay to ask. I have to do it on my own. I don't need anybody else. I mean, all of those things, I will figure it out. And, if I ask, and then then you like order from Amazon, then you actually have to pay for something and all the things that come up with, like, if I have to pay for something for myself. I mean, there's so much wrapped into that. So we're going to spend 2 weeks studying deeply the art of asking. It's a class I actually took, so I have even more numminess to share on that. There's a Magic of the Ask workbook, PDF with some top power questions to ask. And to learn the ways to receive the delivery back from asking from Amazon, because we are asking, but what are we being to actually receive it? And for a lot of us, if we're doing judgment, we've completely cut off the capacity to receive. Okay. Something I've really learned a lot about in the last 4 years of deeply doing more and more coaching and my work is that I can keep asking, but if I do not allow myself to receive it, first I have to receive it, and then I had to learn how to have it because I had all these points of views, limitations, and who you are being in the energetics and your identity of your asks. So who are you being when you're asking? Okay, from your past, your present, or that new version, future self. Dun, da, da, da. So what's included in this 6 weeks starting June 6th is 6 calls, group. Some people aren't group people. I get that. I do a lot of one-on-one coaching, but there is magic that happens in groups. And here is why. There is a vibration that we become as a collective group. We've already decided that we're going to upgrade. So it takes us out of the lower 3D problems, all that, and we're already vibing in that 500 range, the megahertz. So the amount of transformation that happens, because we've all also collectively decided energetically, chose to connect. Those who show up are exactly who's supposed to show up. I always trust that. And you'll know if you're using your awareness, if it's something you're supposed to choose, not choose, or so forth. Follow your awareness and ask the questions. I'm also doing 2 private 1-hour sessions in this 6 weeks. Your Zoom calls are all recorded because a lot of the change comes after the recording. When you go back and listen to even the privates, you're like, wow, I didn't even hear what she said. And my 4 powerful videos sharing my favorite energetic tools and how to use them. And then the powerhouse to the new Activate the Phenomenal Wealthy Woman community for 2 months. If you are part of that group and you already pay to be part of the community, that will come off the top of this. Okay, so don't worry about that. The basic 97. So it's 5 hours of dedicated facilitation and coaching. So just to go through what Activate the Phenomenal Wealthy Woman within you, we meet on Tuesdays and Fridays, 8:30 in the morning, PST time. Join me live or in the recording. I'm going to talk for 30 minutes about something. We're going to do money next month. we're going to do money. That's what's coming up for me. And even like the power of the ask around money. So that's what we're going to tap into. And we'll have conversations. Our clearings will be about that. And then we also have a 1 hour group call that we do on the third Friday every month. I know that was a lot to take in. So this is the program, Activate the 4 A's within you. And it is $2,600 worth of value to work with me. This is normally an $1,800 class that I would do. And for this group and anybody who chooses it, it's only $997. So the question I wrote here, if I choose this, what will it create? Typos. So you know what? You can be great at anything, even with typos. Do it wrong, do it badly, do it anyway. Hurrah. Okay, so hurrah. So if you choose this, what will it create? That's the question. So this $997 is available and we'll be running. I'm not doing anything else but that offer, and it will be 72 hours from our last call tomorrow, because we did have 60 people register for this class. So I got a lot of follow-up to do. So that way I'll be following up with people. So if this is something you choose, we have until like Sunday night or Monday. Okay. And I think that's it. Oh, there's a few more. And there's Karen. And there we go. And then just back down here on the bottom. What I wanted everybody to know is in your private sessions, they are geared exactly to what it is that you need. And also, it is those who show up are the ones who set the energy for the dynamics of what's going to happen in the course. This is not a linear course. This is an energetic course. So, bam, we're going to close this up. We're going to go back to maybe here. So we did that. We talked about that. We're doing good. And just a reminder, hold on, let me close this little window over here. I know I've been talking a lot, but everybody has an invitation to my prize gift, which is going to be a 1 hour workshop on words are the key to creation of your success. How many on here has taken this from me at any time? Okay. How long? A long time ago. Okay. I think you can hear this over and over again. We're going to go through 5 words to eliminate from your vocabulary. And I did a workshop this morning that I participated in, and I realized I used that one word you want to eliminate. I used it 3 times. Trying to figure out a problem, I went into the why, which we want to eliminate, so that I kept asking, why is this not working? Why is this happening? And all I could do with that was judge myself. There was absolutely no awareness in that, no allowance, no asking question. And all I did was label myself with like, what is wrong with me? So even I have taught this, I can't tell you how many times, and I still find myself going, oops, those are not empowering questions. So with that, your awareness wins. We talked about that. Your allowance wins and your asking wins. And my ask is I'm asking you to take your next steps with me. If that is something you choose to do to create a business and a life you love. And then for those who, I actually had 2 conversations yesterday. I'll send this all out in an email to have a clarity call, a clarity growth call for 30 minutes to ask me any questions to look at or to talk about what your next steps are or aren't. And all that kind of stuff. So I had fun with a couple of people yesterday, and one of them signed up to work with me privately. So some people choose that. Alrighty, so there's my stop of my chair, my stop of my share. Let's see, let's that. I want to say hello to everybody. Did I breathe at all through any of that? I didn't, did I? But I got it all out. Woohoo! Okay, so there we go. So you guys got me for just a couple extra minutes. Any awareness wins, any like things that you like, a lot, but maybe got something new today or something you want some facilitation on. You've got me for a few minutes. Anything.
I had an awareness when you were talking about vibration and
Okay.
asking if you're asking for this, but you're vibrating down here.
Okay.
And it occurred to me, I know we've talked about it at other places, but it occurred to me as we continue to raise our vibration and and we're vibing in our ask, I have a tendency to keep looking for these people. They're not looking for me anymore. These people are looking for me. And so there's no wrong or guilt or shame that these people still on my heart that I love
Mhm.
are not coming to me. And so I just had the awareness that it's okay to let them go and be who they be because I have people still looking for me here. And that's okay. I don't need to go back and be the savior of mankind.
Correct. Which was a great clearing that we also did in the Phenomenal Wealthy Woman is,
Oh,
that it's a people pleasing energy too, where we're asking for more, we want to expand more, but one of our underlining distractions is, who do you have to be that person who has more? You have to be somebody so different. You have to be somebody who's possibly not going to connect with the people that you've been connecting with. And that is hard. It can be hard, but you're asking. So
but I just got acceptance,
uh-huh.
allowance.
Oh, good. Okay. Accepting allowance.
Like they're not going to accept me anymore because I'm still in people pleasing distraction.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
will, they don't accept me. They're not supposed to.
Right. Right.
So I can choose to just be an allowance with everyone and continue to be where I be and continue to ask and raise my vibration. But I
Beautiful.
had not, it was funny when you said, you go, I'm asking this, but I'm vibing down here. And then I thought, I don't vibe down here anymore. I vibe up here. So why am I? And then it was like a full circle. It was like people pleasing, acceptance. There's no allowance. There's only judgment.
Totally. Totally.
And so it's the same. So as we vibe higher and higher, these people aren't going to find us and we
It's not
can
a
love
match
them.
anymore.
It's not a match
It's
anymore.
just
So
not a
anyway,
match.
that was from yesterday.
It's great. I love how
Because
you.
I can't keep asking here and looking down here.
Yep. And that's just great. I mean, that's just the whole thing and how it all works in the circle. And then from the place of there's no judgment of where anybody's at. And when it comes to when I say we're saying vibe, it's literally, what is your frequency? What is your vibration? That's what we're talking about. Again, a universal law. It's nothing new. But until you tap into where are you functioning from, that's such a thing. Like, especially anything, like if you've been in fear and scarcity and shame and blame for so long, and then you're asking for this, it's not a match. We have to do the personal growth work. And it looks different for everybody, but it's energetics. You can't mindset yourself to a different vibration. I guess you could a little bit, but it's not going to have the impact it is when we bring our bodies along with the questions and the ask. So thank you, Dara. Yeah, perfect. Full circle. Love it. Okay, I will take you out of the spotlight. Alrighty, anybody else that I can facilitate, answer a question for, or an awareness, and you're not on the spot. Okay. Cool, cool, cool. So almost right on the dot. So you will receive an email, people that are listening and people who will be getting the recordings. This, as well as, I think there'll probably be two links, a link to take a look at the 6-week course, and then a link if you'd like to do a clarity growth call with me. And like I said, those 30-minute growth calls can be empowering just themselves, because we're going to look at some gaps. We're going to look, I don't know, the magic just happens. And my intuitive skills, again, like I have mentioned, that is something that I can zero in very quickly to see what it is that you're using to distract you from choosing. Okay. Thank you for showing up, being here. I appreciate you, women, and I'll see us for the last call tomorrow at 12 o'clock. I love you. Appreciate